Hey, this is Lisa A, and you're listening to Who's That Star on LCC Connect at Lansing Community College. Who's That Star is a behind-the-scenes show where I sit down and talk with the employees at the college. This is an inside look at LCC, where you have a chance to learn about their passions, projects, and what inspires them both in their work and personal lives. I'm your host, Lisa Alexander, and I'm so excited to get a chance to talk to all the people who make LCC great. This show is for you to get to know the people that work at Lansing Community College a little bit more and see what makes them tick. Are you ready? Okay, let's find out who's that star. Today's episode is about roots, growth, and what it means to find your way back to work that feels meaningful. My guest today is someone whose story is shaped by both where they come from and where they've chosen to build their life. Born in a small town in southern Illinois, today's star eventually made Michigan home. Growing up right here in Mason and developing deep ties to the community and the people in it. Education has always played an important role in today's star journey. Following in family footsteps, they attended Western Michigan University, where they studied history, originally planning to become a history teacher. Along the way, today's star has worn many hats: substitute teacher, student employee in the cafeteria at Western Michigan, camp counselor at Van Buren Youth Camp, assessment center team member here at LCC, and even time in the corporate world at Dark Container, a shift that brought a whole new perspective. Each chapter added something: insight, resilience, humor, and an appreciation for meaningful work, eventually leading him back to LCC. Outside of work, today's star values balance, reflection, and might even surprise you with a creative side that includes an appreciation for comedy, something that says a lot about how he sees the world. So, are you ready to meet today's star? Drum roll, please. Today's star is
Pat Sievert.
Pat, I want to welcome you to Who's That Star? And I also want to thank you for your patience because, boy, we are having a time up here.
That's all right. Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Yes, definitely. So for folks who may not know you yet, what is your role at LCC and how do you usually explain what you do?
So I'm the lead support for academic advising. So I feel like I do a lot of different things for the advisors, kind of maintaining calendars, ordering things for them, just helping with general reports and all kinds of things.
Keeping us in line.
Yeah, I think the favorite description I heard for what I do, Alan Sorrell said, was I'm the hand that spins the wheel. I like that.
You are.
Yeah.
No, you've brought a lot to our department. You keep us together. You keep us organized. You make sure that we have everything that we need. And that's such an important role. And you definitely have a great attitude to deal with all the craziness that you have to deal in the advising office. So we are so glad that you are here. But coming to this role, it just didn't happen. You've had a few different professional chapters along the way. How did you find your way back to LCC? So you went through some things. So how did you find your way?
I feel like, I don't know that my career really followed like any set path, by any means. Because when I was growing up, I don't know that I ever really knew what I wanted to do exactly. Mm-hmm. I think, when I was really young, I maybe wanted to do something more creative. As a really small kid, I was like, I wanted to make comic books or whatever. That was probably just because that's like what I liked.
Right.
That's what I read. Those are my favorite thing to, as my hobby. Then I was like, oh, you got to do something serious. And I was really into like history in high school because I had like some really good history teachers. So that made me, go into studying that in college. So I went through like the student teaching in history. And then once I graduated, I couldn't really find a full-time job, at least in Michigan.
Right.
Maybe if I had left the state, I could have found something, but I was like, I didn't know where to go, and, just kind of.
Were you in this area? Like, were you looking in this area, or did you like look?
I looked all over the
did,
state,
yeah.
and I applied in other states too. But it was kind of when you're first out of college and you're broke, it's kind of like
I need to work.
You gotta apply $200 to get your license transferred to each state. It's kind of hard to do that, and so I would substitute teach just to try to get my foot in the door places. And after doing that for a year and a half, I was kind of like, I don't know if I even want to teach after doing this.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Yeah, so I was like looking for something else to do, and I got the job at the assessment center because I was just looking for jobs and saw that, and I was like, oh, it's at a college, maybe that's something that might be interesting. And started working there, worked like Matt Lemon and Jesse, who now is the director over there, and I liked that job a lot, and I was there almost 3 years. I really liked it, but it was stuck at part-time, like no benefits. I was just like, okay, now I should look for something else that maybe is full-time. Both my parents worked at DART where I ended up, so they were always like, well, maybe you should look at this. And so I just, said, well, I have a lot of office skills from this job, and they had some interviews and they liked me, so they hired me, and was able to take some of the skills I picked up at LCC and get the job, and kind of learned as I went there. And I was there for, like 15 years, but yeah.
That's a long time. It's interesting how you were able to use those skills that you've learned through education and working here at LCC to go into the corporate world. Mm-hmm. And did you notice like differences in regards to how like the setting or how people did things versus?
I think, it was definitely more like I think the environment was more relaxed here. I think like, I remember like the office was huge when I worked at LCC. Everybody would like the day after the new episode of The Office aired, everybody would be talking about it. And then like if you tried to do that at everybody be like, hey, talk about that in the break room. We're working here.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do love about working here at LCC is the relaxed environment in the sense that they really believe in a work-life balance, and that you are going to interact with your coworkers and you do have conversations that are more than just work, right? You got interests and things that you share, and that's a reason why I like it here.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, don't talk about something inappropriate for the students, but it's like we can. We're people. We can talk about,
and we have lives and stuff like that. Well, with all those experiences that's behind you, like what brought you back to LCC?
So, after I'd been there, over 15 years, they had to do some layoffs. And so it wasn't like performance-based, but I was one of the people that was laid off. So I was looking for work, and one of my friends is the director of the library. So he said that, look at LCC because there are more opportunities now than when you left. So I looked and was just looking for jobs that seemed like they might be a good fit. And I thought the lead support for advising seemed like it would be something that I would be good at. When I was looking for work, I thought something like administrative assistant, something like that might be something I could do. It's not something that I'd done in the past, but I thought like someone who kind of can manage an office, get things done for people. I thought that's something that I could, reasonably do a good job at. I like doing that. I like kind of looking at work like, it's a puzzle and let's figure it out. That kind of work is.
Well, I didn't really realize what you did at your previous job, but when you say like the supply chain management, kind of a little bit moving stuff from here, like that's kind of what you're doing in advising in a sense too. You got to make sure that this part goes here and you got this part there. In order for that part to work, you have to kind of have a plan and kind of implement things and think ahead, and you do that for us. And like, oh, we're like, Pat, we need for you to do this, and then not you're in the background, but you're making everything move. So I kind of agree with what Alan's description was.
Yeah. And, I feel like sometimes like there I was dealing with, products and, schedules and big companies. And now, sometimes that could be, you're dealing with a big picture and it's not that personalized. And now it's like, oh, now I'm dealing with people and students. And I kind of like that a little bit more. It's nice. It's a nice change. So
it's rewarding.
Yeah.
You get that.
Yeah.
Well, to talk about that, like when you think about the day-to-day, what part of your work feels most meaningful to you?
I think, the times when I do get to help a student, like when I can help them get an appointment or, like sometimes it's hard, in our busier time when you're answering call after call, I need an appointment. Well, there's nothing, I can't get you anything today, but,
right.
Try again tomorrow. But the times when I am able to, or they, have an issue, but I'm able to resolve it, that's good. That's kind of work that keeps you coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that is. And you, like, especially during our busy peak times, you get a lot more contact with students probably because they're calling more.
Yeah.
And to make that connection and get them that appointment, you are the best thing going right there because students really need that. But I'm sure it also makes you feel good.
If you can't make them an appointment, you can maybe point them in the direction of like, well, we can't get you an appointment, but your problem seems like something that e-advising could do.
Right.
So send that email because maybe that's all you need. If you can't get an appointment, they might be able to help you right now. So
yeah. And you got to know all the services, right? Because like you said, you might have to refer them to the program advisor. Oh, you can't meet with the general advisors, but you seem like a good fit for the program advisor. So you can make those different types.
That problem sounds like maybe you got to talk to your success coach.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not us. Maybe that's this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Like I said, you are directing a lot of different things and making sure that everybody has what they need to be successful on our side and on the student side. So
and I like working with the student employees too. That's fun. Yeah.
Well, like listening to you talk about your work and your values, like your values come through. What values guide how you show up both at work and in life?
I think I just like kind of being of service. I feel like it's important to work hard, do your best, but then, it's also important to, I feel like I read a good quote once that was like, work is good, but that's why it's important to save some for tomorrow. So, if you can't solve everything today, you can always work on it tomorrow too. It'll be there tomorrow as well,
Yeah, no, and that's true. It's like I still have stuff I got to do. And what I can do today, I'm going to do.
Yep.
And then tomorrow, that'll be there, and I'll go ahead and figure that out.
Yeah, or I'll just like, man, I got so many things to do. All right, let's try to prioritize it. Let's get the most important stuff done now. Let's get, then we'll do the next most important stuff. Or if I have to find coverage for 5 appointments, I'm going to try to cover the one that's happening next first, then get the one after that, then get the one.
And I see that service spirit in you, Pat. You come to work and to help us. And man, that is major and it's important.
Yeah.
And so I know I don't speak just for our department, but I know for us advisors, we really, really, really appreciate that. So my next question, looking back over the last year, what's something you're really proud of? What made that especially meaningful to you?
Like a personal, I think just kind of like surviving this last year of change. Cause it was pretty tough, not having a job and looking for a job. And, except it was like 7 months almost, not having work. And, so, I guess, I think we're going to talk about the comedy thing that helped. And then, just like getting, small part-time work or, temporary things here or there got me through. But then getting this last April, getting in here was good. And then just, kind of being able to jump in feeling like I was already sort of familiar with LCC, that probably gave me a leg up. Whereas like people would go to the A&S building, like, oh, I know where that is already.
Right, yeah.
Like,
And I guess I didn't realize you haven't even been here a whole year yet.
almost, like 10 months.
In April you'll be here, like you said, a year.
Yep.
But it seems like you've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's like a good way, like you've been here. And you've came in and just came with your feet on the ground and started running. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, part of me was like, well, I want to try to just like get started as fast as I can, or yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was laid off for a few years before I found steady work.
Yeah.
And you just appreciative to be working full time, have a benefits, and that, man, that's priceless in a way. You know what I mean? Like when you think about, you have all this education, you have skills, and then to find a job that you actually like to do.
Because, I feel like it just like messes with your self-worth, because you're like, I sent, how many applications did I send?
Right. Oh,
and like nobody called me back.
Nobody.
Or you're like, you get an interview and feel like, oh, I feel like I did pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you get the, oh, well, we went with somebody else.
Oh,
or
Pat,
you go like have an interview. I'm like, I don't know how I felt about that one, but that's the one where they want you to come in for a second one. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. No, but that's true. Yeah. It does take you through a lot of highs and lows, and it makes you think about like, wow, what does this mean? But if you hold on, you come out on the other side. So
yeah. So
that's cool. So let's kind of step away from work for a moment. Who are you outside of LCC?
So I feel like it surprises a lot of people to know, I've always had like, kind of a creative side as well. So like I do stand-up comedy outside of work.
Oh my.
I've been doing that since 2012. And I've been a fan of that since I'd say like middle school. We got cable when I was in 7th grade. So like after school, I'd watch like Comedy Central, like Saturday Night Live would be on at like 3 p.m., like the reruns of that. And then there'd be like comedy specials or whatever would be on. So I'd watch a lot of just comedy, and I always liked it. And I'd quote things, to friends, and was like, oh, that would be fun to try sometime. I did like a few things in college at like talent shows and never tried it, seriously. But then in 2012, I just was like looking for something to try. Needed some kind of outlet out after work for something to do, and it was something I wanted to try. So I did the open mic at Connections Comedy Club, and just kind of kept going from there. Yeah,
that's major though.
Yeah,
because to be a comedian, to do that, like, so you write your own jokes.
Yeah,
and see, that's work.
Yep. Yeah.
And then to get up on stage in front of people, see, that I would have probably tried to fake a heart attack or something the first time to do that, because your nerves. And then like, well, I don't know. I want to ask you this. This is totally off. But so when you started in the crowds that you started initially with, and now the crowds, do you think there's a shift? Do you think people are more welcoming? Are they less welcoming? What's going on?
I feel like I've definitely had like nerves at first, and I don't know that I'm that, like, I don't look at the crowd that much. Some people will be like, if you're performing on stage, like, should look above the crowd or whatever. Right. Some people will like look at everybody and make a ton of eye contact and like interact with the crowd, and I don't really do that much. I definitely feel like I've gotten better about like moving around and like looking into the crowd more, but I don't do that much of it. Yeah.
You still working on, like, you feel like, are you still developing certain aspects of your comedy?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like, okay, this works for me, I'm doing pretty well?
Yeah. I feel like I'm always trying to develop things, but I feel like, early on, everybody always talked about my writing was really good. And so it was like, I was like, you're a strong writer. I don't know if my performance was always there, but it was like my performance worked for my writing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, I've had some good opportunities. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things. Like I feel like I've worked with Gary Goldman, who's like, he's a pretty
Big, yeah.
he's pretty big, and he did a special that was on HBO about like his battles with depression and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
then he's awesome to work with, and so. Seems like anytime he comes through Michigan again, he'll have me open for him. Which is
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you left an impression.
Yeah.
It must have did pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's what's up, Pat. I love that. I've never, people always say I'm hilarious, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not trying to be funny. I think that's probably why I'm funny, because I'm not trying to be funny, but I do admire that skill and that you're able to do that, because I don't know that I could.
Yep.
So, well, we know that comedy kind of recharges you.
Yeah.
And you're not, when you work here, you get some joy, but when you're not doing comedy or you're not on campus, what other thing recharges you or brings you joy?
I like spending time with family and friends too. Like to read a lot.
Okay.
Feel like I read a wide variety of things. Sometimes historical books. Still try to get that history interest fed. I guess fantasy and sci-fi as well.
Okay.
Try to think anything else. Try to see movies as often as I can. Have like that Celebration Cinema membership. Where you can see like the 3 movies a week. But don't usually use that I don't use that to its fullest, but try.
But it's there.
Yep.
And it's something to do. I like Celebration Cinema. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's like $20 a month, and you could see 3 movies a week.
Now that would be worth it. But see, the thing of it is for me, like I'll get on a roll, and then me and Michaela will go and see movies, and then it's a dry spot where I don't find any movie that's out that I'm interested in, and so I'm like, oh, okay, that's
there
a waste
were a
of
few
money.
weeks recently where I was like, I don't really want to see any.
Yeah, no, that's something interesting to check out. So this one is fun. And it'll be interesting because you present one way to me, but then when you telling me you're a comedian is something else, right? So, like, do you consider yourself more of an introvert, an extrovert, or somewhere in between?
I feel like somewhere in between. I feel like I was pretty much like total introvert most of my life. I feel like maybe starting to do comedy maybe pushes me out a little bit, maybe in like all aspects of my life, but I feel like it's not a total change, though. So I'd say more right now, probably somewhere in between.
Well, that's cool, though. I think, most people are somewhere in between. Our jobs or different hobbies make us be more extroverted than we may really want to be, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess, left to my own devices, if I don't have anything going on, I might just be at home, all day, but then I'll be like, I should have done something. I should have gone out and found something to do or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well, as we start to wrap up, what do you hope people feel when they interact with you? Like, what do you hope they get from you?
I hope they feel that I listened to them and, tried to do the best I could to, help them out if they had a problem or, just that someone who, cared and did the best I could for them.
And you do give that off because you do care about people. Well, finally, if someone is listening right now and trying to find their place at LCC, what advice would you want to share with them?
I would say just kind of put yourself out there, ask questions and, find places where something needs to get done that isn't getting done and see what you can do to help. That's kind of things that I've tried to do, like
teamwork.
Yeah. I feel like when I started here, I was kind of like, is this something that hasn't been done for a while that needs to get done? I can do that.
Yeah. Help and be useful and come in and want to do things. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time, Pat. I thank you for sharing your story and your perspective with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on Who's That Star.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lisa.
Everybody, thanks again. You've been listening to Who's That Star. I'm Lisa A., and you can listen to this episode of Who's That Star and other shows from LCC Connect anytime online at lccconnect.org. Thank you for listening. Catch me next time to find out who's that star.